104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 197 this week. Was Jay's pick, a documentary series on Netflix called How to Rob a Bank. Now, first out of the gate, I want to say thank you for picking a really nice, concise documentary, not like a 10-episode thing that could have been one.
I got you.
Perfect. But I also got one question. Why in the hell did you make me watch a documentary with so much frontal male nudity?
Oh, I was hoping you were going to bring this up.
You're like, oh, this is.
Tell me he was not a man. Tell me he was not a man of my own heart.
I don't know about this guy. What this hippie? Oh, he's naked.
He would stand out there naked.
Jay's immediately in,
bro.
So yeah,
he had long hair.
There was a lot of hanging.
Whoa, my chair just broke.
See how excited he is. See how excited he is. He can't even. Can't
even afford chairs around here. Oh no, it sank.
The deal's he's falling in his chair because he's so excited of this guy.
Well, I can appreciate the beauty of a male or female. That's the sweeper for the show.
The sweeper is just going to say, I can appreciate the beauty of a male, and we're going to cut it off right at that point. Tyler, that's the mark right there. 2 minutes in, buddy. Again, we are Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens, Dark Side of the Street. And
talking naked dudes.
This naked guy that is in a lot of home movies on this documentary series called How to Rob a Bank that talks about the Hollywood bank robber that was active in the Seattle area in the 90s.
Bro.
I don't want to spill all the candy because there's so much to talk about.
Tell me he was not living the dream, bro. Walking around naked in a treehouse. Built a massive treehouse, robbing banks, man.
I thought, first of all, that the directors, producers of this documentary did such an amazing job of really telling kind of multiple stories at the same time. Because, I remember, I know I'm going to talk about Unsolved Mysteries. I even remember that Unsolved Mysteries where they're trying to find this dude.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yeah. Because they had no idea. They were talking about his getup, how many banks he'd hit. Oh, yeah. They were,
bro, he was slick.
It was a big deal.
He was slick.
And it was such a big deal because he was so good at it. They had no idea, even up until the point where they caught him, they didn't know that he had accomplices at all. They just assumed it was one guy.
Yep.
They guessed. What was funny to me was, and we'll get into the story when we go down, but I wanted to bring this up too, is that when we were talking to the FBI agent and the police, they obviously those guys still to this day don't like each other.
Yeah.
Oil and water. But it was so funny because they both were, at first they were like, there was a theory that it could have been a police officer. And then one of the guy goes, yeah, he thought it was a police officer. They cut to him. He goes, I never thought it was a police officer.
Yeah, it was so good.
They cut to him and goes, no, I never had that theory.
They did such a great,
dude,
such a great
when
job.
It comes to the shootout,
oh, yeah.
there is some controversy there because the police officer claims that he pointed his gun at him. The guys were like, we were never going to shoot at the police.
Right.
We were going to disable the vehicle. Now, granted, just an FYI here, guys, if you are ever involved in something nefarious and you are being chased by the police or they stop you,
you
and
possibly
say,
could get shot.
If you reach for something or without being in your car, in your pocket, in your
You're
jacket,
even going to shoot the tires out.
Dude, don't care if you're going to try and shoot their car or in the air.
They're going to shoot you.
If you go for something, they're going to defend. That's their training.
Yeah.
And that is the way it should be, honestly, because I don't want a police officer to get shot.
Yep.
So that argument coming from the guys that just robbed a bank, like, and then we're just going to shoot the car.
Yeah, we're just going to shoot the tires out. No, if you got a gun, you're getting shot.
He's got a shotgun or a rifle in his hand, and he turns back to face one officer who's by himself with a revolver in his hand. That revolver is going to take every shot he could, and he did. And they ended up, shooting a bunch of the dudes. So, but before all this craziness, it was just about this hippie dude that was living in the middle of the woods in a tree house in Washington, and we'll get to how he started next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio, Dark Side of the Stream, episode 197, discussing how to rob a bank. So you end up finding out about this man. His name's Scott Scurlock, and he was a free spirit dude, really good-looking guy. Had built a huge treehouse on his property in the middle of the woods in Washington.
Can I say very, very cult leader-esque vibe? Could have been David Koresh type vibe, kind of me vibe.
From all accounts of the people he was with, the people he helped out. Even when he was stealing money, he gave
would
it away.
give money to people, no problem,
gave
man.
thousands of dollars in donations to environmentalists that were trying to save the forest, all these hippie movements. One of the guys that was in his crew was like, why are you giving all this money to the hippies? That's what he cared about.
Yeah,
he just wanted to live his life. And so, you know, it wasn't always bank robbing. I did not know this until the documentary, but the guy started his nefariousnesses by cooking dope,
making meth.
Got kicked out of his school for making it in the lab. Then he'd go out to Washington and do it. Definitely did not give me the meth use or maker vibes.
But the business side, he was just a businessman.
He understood that since he was smart enough to do this, if he did it right, he can make a lot of money. Well, with that business, and he dealt with I think a few MCs at the time. One of his best friends got shot and killed in his sleep. That was kind of dealing with this.
Yeah.
He saw the writing on the wall.
He did see the writing on the wall.
And got the hell
smart
out.
Man.
Yeah.
And he thought, well, this is I'm making pennies on the dollar here. I could probably do something, make more money.
Something better. So
came up with the scam. And
so then him and a buddy go out to the movies, and they see a movie which is also one of my favorite movies of all time. And we'll talk about that next. And what inspired these guys.
What a tease.
How to Rob a Bank, next on Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens, back in the studio. It's Dark Side of the Stream, episode 197, How to Rob a Bank on Netflix. So this dude, Scott, he's selling dope, ends up realizing that it's not going to go so well.
Not worth
One of his
the money.
buddies gets shot. It's not worth your life. So him and a buddy go see the movie Point Break in the theaters, 1991.
Great movie.
It's amazing. I love that movie so much. If I see it on TV, I'll watch it. So many great lines from that movie. My wife and I agree at the end where he finally catches up to him in Australia, and he's like, I can't be locked up in a cage, man. That's one of my favorite lines of all time. But Scott took that movie to heart. He looks at Bodie. He's like, Bodie, you got it right.
This is what we're doing.
Why be a slave when you can be a master?
This is what we're doing.
And so him and a buddy say, screw it. They put on the dead president's masks, and they walk into a bank and fumble it completely.
No plan.
And somehow get away from it.
Yeah.
Get away. Scot-free. On the way out, his buddy's like, I'm not doing this anymore. He packs up, moves to Montana, right? Scott's like, when's the next one?
Yep.
So he starts to figure out that he can he had enough of a presence, and he was big enough of a guy that he could kind of take care of the room by himself. That's a tough thing to do as a bank robber. I don't know that because I've never done that, but from what they say. But he also did need some help, and it was ingenious that he hooked up with this dude that basically was his lookout outside, wasn't his driver. He would just sit there and post up. I don't even know how many times he would be hanging out with the police. Can you imagine, like, just sitting there in the car with a radio in your lap, and you're just like watching them all?
Here they come.
Like, hey man, I don't know at what point they didn't recognize this guy. Maybe they kept putting disguises on him too, but obviously they changed the vehicle. But anyway, so he let them know what was going on, and they became extremely successful.
Even robbing the same bank, going back to the same bank. That's the crazy move.
Because it's not so crazy, because everyone would assume like
you're never going back to the same bank.
Well, these dudes, they didn't care. So,
and robbing one bank, then as soon as the police are coming and shoot to the next bank, you're leaving one step behind you the whole time. Three banks in one day, man.
That was the end game, because eventually the heat got so bad, he was getting really paranoid. He wasn't the same guy anymore. You could tell that this whole thing was weighing on him. Him and his partner decided, we're going to do this 3-bank job, right? We're going to all hit it on the day before Thanksgiving. All this money's coming in, and we're going to walk our separate ways. But we need a third guy. And so they go back to the dude he robs the first bank with. Somehow talks him into it.
That's what I mean. This guy would have been a cult leader.
Which, by the way, he was keeping it. That was the other thing. He's like, yeah, my daughter stayed at the treehouse. I was like, was that when you guys were robbing banks or cooking meth? I mean, father of the year right there, buddy. Either way, so they come back. It all goes to hell. They end up getting shot up. The two guys, his partners, get caught. Scott runs off, ends up getting caught in a trailer in the back of some dude's house, takes his own life while they were hunting him down. And that was that.
But two guys went to jail. They got shot, got better, went to jail, and came out, and they lived to tell the story, man. What a great story to tell, right?
I don't know. I mean,
he used to hang out with this dude naked in a treehouse and rob banks, bro. Like that's the life there, man.
If you're willing to take 5 years of freedom and being able to do whatever you want, wherever you want, for trading 20 years of your life being locked in a cell, if that's a good trade to you, then I guess take Jay's advice. Me personally, I'd just rather work a 9 to 5. That's easy enough and feels more like jail enough as it is, let alone being locked up a place where you can't see your friends or family. But either way, it's a crazy story, and we'll give it
It's
our
great.
reviews next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern, back in the studio one more time. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 197. We did How to Rob a Bank this week on Hulu. I will give this 4 solid fake prosthetic noses.
For sure.
All day.
For sure, 100%.
Straight
Yeah.
4. I mean, it was shot incredibly well. The use of all the home footage they got, the story about him. I mean, they weren't.
Let's not forget full frontal male nudity.
Obviously, Jay's favorite part, the full frontal male nudity. You got to remember, like, this guy, he was a criminal, and they definitely did a good job of.
He was a good dude, man.
Well, but you got to be careful not romanticizing that thing, because of obviously you had victims, even though he didn't shoot anybody.
No, he never hurt anybody, man.
I'm gonna ask you this question: the next time you're sitting in a bank and someone comes in there while you're making a deposit and they pull a gun in your face, how are you gonna feel about that?
Well,
you don't think that you're?
I avoid that by never going into a bank.
But you see what I'm saying? You go to the gas station to get a soda with your kid. Some guy comes in there, robbing, put a gun in your face. How are you gonna feel about that afterwards?
Not a good time.
No, you're not. So there were victims in this, and they did a great job of painting that out. That even though, he kept it cool, no one ever got shot.
He was like a Robin Hood almost.
Dude, there was one girl who was robbed multiple times by the same dude.
Jeez, man, I know, right? Same bank.
You can't say victimless, because me personally, if I was in a situation with my kid and someone put a gun in my face and I didn't have a way to defend myself in that situation, it'd probably leave a little bit of a scar. So at the end of the day, he did what he did, but you can't romanticize the fact that this guy definitely robbed banks and definitely messed with people, even though they didn't kill anyone.
And it's always good to see the cat and mouse game between when they interview the officers and the guys.
I get so
so
angry
good.
at these guys, especially in law enforcement, that just can't admit that they were wrong. And then it's just like, I'm like, dude, if you were that good, you wouldn't have been able to rob all these banks. Okay, so come on, like, get off your horse. Like, don't. And I think at one point one of them did say that was the thing he regretted the most, so that he didn't get to talk to him. But that was Scott Steele. He was in control of his own fate, and screw you.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, he did what he said he was going to do. So you know what? That's a life. He is my age. He took his life when he was my age, which is just crazy to think that he had that kind of a life. I mean,
wild, man,
unbelievable. All right, so as always, our homework assignment for next week, it's my turn. I just came across this. We were looking for something to watch. I'm not going to go through, there's multiple seasons of it. We're just going to focus on the first season, which is just 3 episodes, The Food That Built America.
Perfect.
And it talks about the Kellogg family, the Post family, the Hershey's, Heinz family. And it's unbelievable.
All right.
Some of the stuff, McDonald's brothers, all this stuff.
Wow.
You will enjoy it and find out all about the food we eat every day and how the world was changed by these guys and these titans of industry on our next episode of Dark Side of the Stream, which you can always watch us do live on Facebook at 9 a.m. every Thursday, or YouTube. Download it as a free podcast on our 104.7 The Cave app, or listen to us do it live every Thursday at 9 a.m. or 6 p.m. on 104.7 The Cave. I am Mike the Intern.
I am Jay Stevens.
I almost said Jay Stevens.
You can be me.
I don't know about today.
You too can be me. You too can be me.
Either way, we watch movies.
You don't have to.
So you don't have to. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.